Match Play Championship weekend is set after the final group stage. Ricky was tardy for his tee time, not on purpose this time though. GMC started, but we got some other events to hit on, and I'm gonna be honest, not that much more this week in disc golf. Welcome back all you disgenerates and the dirtbags out there. For all the ones that don't know me and new to the channel, I'm your host, the one with all the holes in his game, Swiss Cheese. But most importantly, I'm just one half of the disc golf world. The disc golf YouTube channel that many don't remember toured alongside the pros in a minivan no less for a whole 9 months. Since then, the van's blown up just like our media pass approval, but still hasn't stopped us from pumping out the sport's hardest and fastest hitting professional coverage, with our scripted content and not too funny humor unlike the other guys' podcast format. You're watching This Week in Disc Golf, where I cover all things disc golf from the past week. And even though the community might still be recovering from the loss of Kristen Lott, and for the creepers out there, those yellow shorts, the tour keeps on moving and the news keeps coming. But before all that, I want to tell you guys to do what you guys love to, and that's grab a round, or 10 for that matter, this Saturday, September 20th for UDisc's Throw for More charity event. UDisc will be donating 10 cents to the Paul McBeth Foundation for every round thrown that day. So, if you're watching this on Saturday, put this short-ass video down. It will be there waiting for you after your round. Because helping the future of the sport and expansion of our game across the globe simply by doing what we love is a greater excuse to toss some frizz than you have used all year. So join us, other content creators like Broderick, pros, and the rest of the community and play some disc golf. Now back to the pro action, as I got to get into the final group stage of this year's match play, or that friendly and cozy notification that was there to remind you that there was some additional disc golf to consume. Sure, you may have forgotten about it over the entire season, and they may also have blown their load way too early with the star-studded matchup at the first event. And I've made it abundantly clear that I like to poke fun at this event. But the new format and structure has brought us some exciting highlights, aces, and a possibility of some additional coin in the players' pockets. 15 grand, in fact, made more impressive as that total goes to the winner in both divisions. Add they had to overcome weather delays, even rescheduling and injuries, I think DGN did show there is a place for additional coverage during the middle of the week, which could mean future events like this or possibly new ones altogether going into next year. And with the championship format and the participants now set, should bring some additional excitement, even with some of the game's biggest names off the list. Oh, and that small little thing of having to wait a month and a half for it. But hey, it's at Hornets Nest, and you guys know you're going to be watching. So let's cover what just happened this week. Group A in the MPO went chalk, as Gannon Burr already had the group in hand before he halved the round with Chris Dickerson, knocking him from advancing as he needed a win and an AB loss to move on. AB did advance with a convincing win over Luke Humphreys. Group B had far more excitement, even with Matty O taking the day off, and Paul McBeth being eliminated for that matter. That was because the battle for the final spot of the group behind Orem came down to the final hole. Ezra Aderhold and Ricky Wysocki came in with a head-to-head battle to determine who advances. But a costly OB drive late for Rick on 15 was enough for Ezra to move on by the tiebreaker, even with Ricky winning the next 3 holes and halving the day, meaning both Rick and Paul did not advance out of this group. Antala not only swept the entire group, but did it in style by acing in the face of Hammes to close out the day early. Ezra Robinson also heads to Charlotte, going second in the group stage and having the round with Proctor. Group D had the closest race with everyone involved, even Kelvin Heimberg on the bottom of the group with only 1 point. Isaac Robinson jumped out to a strong early lead and looked to be advancing with a 4-hole lead on the front 9. Joey Buckets came in leading the group and was handed an early lead himself as Vinny didn't look sharp out of the gates, scoring 4 bogeys on the first 5 holes, one of those even being hole 1, the only bogey on the day in both FPO and MPO. That gave Buckets a 2-hole lead, but he would have his own struggles, his coming on the back half. While Isaac Robinson was closing out his 8-3 victory over Simon, Joey was losing his to Vinny when he took the lead on 13. Buckets was unable to recover then or early, and there was plenty of chances to close out that round, giving Heimberg the victory and ultimately the tiebreaker to go to Hornets Nest. FPO had some highlights of their own. Group A had Ella Hansen lose her lead on the group with a disappointing 4-over round and a loss to Allie Smith 6-3, which allowed Holland Hanley to leapfrog her with a shortened victory, as she won the first 4 holes of the day, and round for that matter by hole 13. That victory and this final day really could shape things up for the championship event. Owen came in with the lead and tiebreakers for that matter, so her matchup with Eliezra Midling was inconsequential. But the 4-3 victory by Eliezra did give Midling her first points of the group stage. Not too bad for the young talent. The cats of the group would battle off for the second of the group stage. No need for a pun here because Terry did enough of it. Katrina Allen's putter allowed her to not only take a lead on hole 1, but maintained it by holding off Kat Mertz for the next 2 holes. But the two would go back and forth from there, and actually went into the twilight holes of the round tied and on the putting green of 17, where the pressure of the moment may have just gotten to Mertz, as she was perfect from the circle before then, but needing to hit a 26-footer to stave off Allen, who was parked. Mertz's only C1X missed putt on the round would cost her a chance at the 15 grand and allowed Allen to advance. The other remaining groups were light, with Missy Gannon already locked in for a victory, pulled the no-show, which meant Paige Pierce and Rebecca Cox's final matchup would determine who would play on. Add Kristen Lott skipping the event gave newly minted Jessica Gerthy points in watching the event. With Lott's departure, Kona Montgomery now sat atop the group, needed only to half or better Silva Saarinen to take the top spot of Group D. Kona stayed bogey-free, which helped her gain a victory over Silva, who despite the loss was still able to advance with her tiebreaker over Jessica. But the Lott departure not only shook up the group stage, but whose impact will be felt in the championship event also. But the showcase of the FPO would be the matchup of Paige Pierce and Rebecca Cox. Cox started out with an OB stroke, but did hit a huge C2 putt to save par, which completely big putted Paige, who ended up missing her first C1X putt on the day, as the two would end up having the hole. Cox from there would birdie the next 3 holes and take a 2-hole lead. And after another OB stroke on 5 and a 3-putt on 7, both resulting in bogeys, and Cox's lead completely erased away. Luckily for Rebecca though, Paige handed it right back to her the very next hole, but would win 3 of the next 5 after that, to end up taking a 2-hole lead. Cox would only respond by winning 2 of the next 3 holes, even though it was aided with a costly bogey from Paige, meaning the battle would come down to the final hole. And funny enough, Paige looking at a 54-footer for birdie to advance, which she did hit, further highlighting the entertainment and showcasing the talent of these pros through this midweek structure, and something that I hope to see more coming in the future. Now let's get into some more quick hitter tournament coverage. Rick showed up late for his tee time on day 1 of GMC, costing him 4 strokes and a tough hill to climb up from. And despite the speculation of Poopgate or even worse excuses in the comment section, it turns out to be a nothing burger, as Ricky chose the waterfall and Vermont scenery to distract during his apology. And I'm really not going to cover that much more of GMC with the exception of shouting out Evan Smith's big boy ace on the 475-foot hole 10 of Brewster Ridge, that is. Last Sundays, as pros were scattered at events, let's cover some other tournament wins. Owen was able to snag another dub, this one over Leah Tisinagini and Lauren Butler at the Syracuse Open. The MPO side had Nathan Queen winning by 4 strokes over Alex Berg, and even more over Braden Sides, who took 3rd. Up north, across the border, Ryan Mon looking to not only pad that rookie resume, but PDGA points also, by him taking down the Canadian Championship in Port Hope, just edging out Austin Bates' comeback effort, while Jaden Rye ended up taking 3rd. The Norway National Championship came to the big stage in a feature on Disc Golf Fanatics post. Understandable though, when a player needed a ladder to play atop a broadcasting van that was imbalanced, no less. Which reminds me, let's get to some quick hitters and get you on your way. Vermont in fall is beautiful, but GMC is a little isolated also, because judging by the pro timelines, there's really not too much to hit up there while in Vermont, besides maple syrup and outdoor activities. You can hike the mountainside and enjoy the scenery or take a dip, which was good enough of a spot for Ricky's tardy apology. There's pickleball as Finnish homies Antala, Yuna, Sakaripi, and Nestori threw down for an evening session. Of course, you can hit the water via canoe like Erica, Ella, and Fish did. And while I'm on Fish, there's also exactly that, fishing, to snag some rainbows like Mason and Sully. There's mini golf that Heimberg, Tom, Callaway, Arlinghouse, and even Henna got into. And finally, I guess evidently popping really big questions, like will you marry me, just like Ezra Robinson did, who joined the entire rest of the posse in getting engaged or married this year. Well, that's with the exception of Gannon, who's more married to the shorts life, the game's statistics, winning, and I can't forget Schlebach steaks or Legos. But congratulations does go out to Ezra and the families on the proposal and the fact she said yes. And how about a shout out to iRob and the wife to help capture it all? I guess there's this player-built rock formation also. And don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say Vermont is boring, but it's difficult not to view it through that lens when Vinny's putting that engineering degree to use building a super, and I don't mean Frankie, 70 Nerf gun with expansion drum no less. And if that wasn't sadistic enough, ran it through some human trials no less with buddy Zach Arlinghouse. Who has the welts to prove it? Maybe it was a good thing Vinny found disc golf. Great news coming out of Finland, as world's breakout phenom Ida Lehtomäki has officially registered for Throw Pink. Brixton's back at it and everywhere, whether it be live whatnot parallel pack perforations or getting all the pros' coveted unscripted drawings and signatures. And I mean all the pros, even the little ones, just like Kale's. AB hits a level up frontside nose grind on a rail in Pennsylvania. Gavin Babcock not only hit a Yankees game last week, but got in a game at Fenway for some Red Sox baseball. Jordan Linz has to shut disc golf down as she recovers from surgery. Here's hoping for a speedy recovery from that. And guys, I'm not gonna lie, you're probably not gonna know Larry Legend, but he's fucking everywhere, including Pittsburgh, I guess, because he ran into Kat while she was out there. And for the ones who don't know him, he's part of the tour community that can be seen at stops across the US. Here's a warning though, Larry is quite the chatter and will tell you about every round he's played. In fact, the only time I've really seen him quiet is when we got him higher than a Creed lyric at MVP Open. And guys, that wraps up this week in disc golf. I want to shout out to all of you on the Patreon and every one of you who have stayed this long to thank also. And like always, if you've enjoyed and not subscribed, make sure to do so. And if you haven't already, hit that like button, comment, and share.